Hey, hey, we'll get the screen going. Don't worry about it. How's everybody doing? Doing all right? Everybody good? Let me get this out of here. Let's go here. There we go. How are you? How about Davion Mitchell and the Heat? Did you see Davion Mitchell in overtime? Wow. 9 points in overtime, doing it on defense. And you're like, he used to play on the Kings, right? One more reason why the Kings didn't make the playoffs this year, but in all fairness, they didn't make it last year and he was on the team. But wow. Memphis, they lead Dallas 68-53. The winner plays Oklahoma City. And again, it's 68-53, 2 minutes gone by in the third quarter. Miami, a 10th seed, they're in. They will play Cleveland in round one. And again, if Memphis holds off Dallas, they'll play Oklahoma City. I think a lot of people miss Davion Mitchell, especially considering that, Devin Carter was hurt. You've got a couple of glimpses of Carter. He's got a long way to go before he gets to be where Davion Mitchell is. That's for sure. On offense, maybe not defense, but offensively, yes. But again, he was pretty impressive. All right. Listen, fans have hated on everyone. He said, yeah, I don't think so. Some of you all hated on Davion and wanted to trade him from the Kings. I remember like yesterday. Kings fans want to trade everybody at some point. At some point. Why do our former players play so much better on other teams? Davion played very well at the end of last year, the final 2 months of the season. He was very, very good. You can't forget about that. That's for sure. You cannot forget about that. I mean, he was inconsistent until the final 6 to 8 weeks of last year. I think we can all agree on that. But hey, bottom line is they traded him. He's doing well. Obviously, from Toronto to Miami. So things didn't work out in Toronto. And now you look at what he's doing in Miami. What are my thoughts on the Rockets and the Warriors series? I think it's going to be a hell of a series. I like Golden State. I think their experience will prevail. And I think that's going to be one of the more entertaining series in the first round. I think that's going to be a heck of a series. You got an inexperienced team in Houston, relatively speaking. And now you have a veteran team with maybe their last hurrah in the Golden State Warriors. Right? That's how I look at it. All right, if you want to call the show today, get on. Be more than happy to take your phone calls. We got the link for you. We'll roll right along here on a Friday evening. And again, I'm very happy that you would take the time to call the show. Let's get started with Michael.
Oh, that was
Michael?
fast.
Well,
Oh,
you
that
know
was
what?
quick.
I'm not going to go
You're
long
good.
today. I'm going to do probably a 30 to a 45-minute show. So I'm going to get you in and get you out. What's going on,
Oh,
buddy?
how are you doing, Grant?
Good.
That was pretty quick. The Kings. I know we lost to the Mavericks. It's a tough way to end the season. Yeah, I gotta give credit to Mavs. They came out and kicked the Kings' butt in the second quarter. Playing is just about you gotta play with your A game. It's just it's like a game seven. You just cannot make a critical mistake like in second quarter. You know,
Yeah, I mean,
what do you?
it was they got manhandled. I don't know what else to say. They got manhandled.
Yeah, AD played his A game. I mean, he had an experience to play in. Remember, I think 2 years ago against Minnesota.
Listen, AD is one of the best players in the league when he's healthy. He didn't have experience of a
Yeah,
player. He's been in a
he's
lot of
so
big games.
good. He's
The
32 and
bottom line
still
is
good.
The Kings got beat in every single phase of the game, and they got outcoached. I mean, that was very evident.
Yeah, it's been a real problem year for the Kings. Inconsistency, as you
Yep,
called it, right?
yep, yep. They were
Yeah,
very inconsistent the whole year.
What do you like about what do you see about the Warriors versus the Rockets? I think the Rockets are gonna probably lose to the Warriors. They're more experienced. I'm not sure. What about you?
I like the Warriors in this one. I think they have the more experience, as you said. I think Steph Curry will be the difference. Obviously, getting Jimmy Butler is huge. So we'll see.
Yes.
Hey, it's going to be fun. Michael, good way to start off the show, buddy. You have a good
Yeah,
weekend, all
you
right?
too, right? It's a
Thank
great
you,
way
bud.
to start.
Appreciate it. Bye-bye now. If you want to call the show, you can do so. We've got the link right here. All right? Give us a holler, and we'll put you right on. I think that's going to be a very entertaining series. I think that's going to be a heck of a series. I think when you look at, the contrasting styles in terms of youth, in terms of experience, it's very, very interesting. All right. All right. So when you look at the other aspects of the playoffs, when you look at the other series, what about the Lakers? What about that series coming up with Minnesota? Will that be the best, most entertaining playoff series of them all in the first round? I mean, you've got the Clippers in Denver. I think that's going to be good. But the Minnesota Lakers series, and I think Detroit, New York in the East could be very good. Could be very good. I think the Lakers and the Timberwolves and the Warriors and the Rockets, those could be the two best series. Those could be pretty darn good. Pretty darn good indeed. I think Boston should have no problem with Orlando. When I mean no problem, I mean they'll win the series. We'll see. Said the Uber driver picked up Fox's wife from the airport. She's a sweet person. That's what I've heard. I've never met her. Thank you very much for the super chat donation. I've not met his wife, but I've heard she is very, very nice, which does not surprise me because he's very nice. Memphis backcourt not having any issue with Dallas's big front line tonight in the first half, not like the Kings. Big difference, too, when you're playing on a Wednesday, travel on a Thursday, and have to play on a Friday, and Memphis had the extra day off. It does make a difference. That game's not over yet. It's 73-63. Memphis up by 10. And Memphis has blown a couple big leads here late in the season. Would have been so great for the city to have the Kings in the playoffs. Why can't Vivek get out of the way, Grant? Because he's not capable. It's just not his personality. Not his personality. I haven't really given a lot of thought, Cody, to the Pacers over the Bucks, but yeah, I probably would. I probably would. Someone said Houston versus the Warriors is the most exciting for me. All right, so I talked about this a lot yesterday, particularly when I was getting ready to sign off, because I did a poll on X, and I asked whether you wanted or should Doug Christie, I'll read the results right here, be retained as head coach. And I got right now 1,229 votes, 62% no, 38% yes. And yesterday, when we were wrapping up the show, I asked you, do you want Doug Christie to be the head coach and not the interim, take the tag off? Yes or no? Yes, meaning you want him to stay. No, you don't. And it was probably 95% no. And I'm just wondering if you want the Kings to clearly go in a different direction with their head coach. I don't think Doug is the guy. I think that the Kings need to go in a different direction, but I don't think they will. I don't think they will. Grant, my dad saying we don't need a point guard. Can you please tell this guy we need a point guard? You call your dad this guy? Dad, you need a point guard. Wake up. You need a point guard. Come on. Naz Reid has a player option for this summer. I like Naz Reid. I think most people do. Mavs will have a big fourth quarter and pull off the victory. We'll see. Thank you very much for the super chat. Houston, getting the business over the Warriors. They'll win 4-2. Again, thank you so much for the super chat donation. Will I return as the Kings announcer someday? I don't think I will, no. What do the Kings do in the draft and free agency to get into the playoffs next year? Well, the draft's going to be very difficult considering they're well, we'll wait until the final draft order, and they're probably going to lose their draft pick. Free agency is going to be difficult. You're not going to attract a top free agent to come to Sacramento in all likelihood. What's going to happen? I believe that a lot of the vets are telling their agents to get out of Sacramento. Get me out of Sacramento. You know, you're going to have to figure out, Scott Perry's going to have to figure out, assuming he gets the job, it's not 100% official yet, that he needs to find out who wants to stay and who wants to leave and, you know, build a culture of players that want to stay. That's going to be very, very difficult. Very difficult. And it's going to be very difficult if the first move that Scott Perry makes is retaining Doug Christie, because that's going to send a message through the entire organization, the entire NBA, and the entire community that he's not really running the show, that Vivek Ranadive is. We already know that, but that will basically put a stamp on it. So, do I think the fact that they hired a new general manager before firing Doug, all signs point that he stay as head coach? Well, first of all, the word firing is not appropriate here. Doug would not be fired. He just wouldn't be given the head coaching tag. But yes, 100%. I think that Doug will be retained as coach, and I think that tells you all you need to know. Period. 100%. I think it's going to be the same thing over and over and over again because the Kings don't do things the right way. Just don't. They don't. How's Vivek ruined athletics baseball overnight? Explain that to me, please. Come on now. I want to tell you about New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. They're available around the clock 24/7 for your plumbing needs and repairs. Just go to sackserviceplumbing.com or call the number on your screen, or newworksplumbing.com, NEWWRXplumbing.com. New Works Plumbing. They've got a fix for you. Again, how do you have Vivek ruining A's baseball overnight? Help me out with that one. Am I sold on Keegan? I'd like to have him on the team. I'm not. Am I sold on him? If I use that adjective, no, I'm not sold on him. But I like him. I think he should be part of the future going forward. I'm surprised that you're even asking this question. I think Vivek's the biggest issue with the Kings. Best bet, blow it up. Doug would be better in supporting role, not head coach, but it looks like the same old song and dance. Yes, it does. No question about that. How do we keep falling in these situations? Very simple, because you keep on doing things the wrong way. Appreciate the super chat donation. Perry Scouts said Levine doesn't bring winning in an interview. Thank you for your super chat. I think it's pointless to keep blaming Vivek. Unfortunately, he just isn't going anywhere. I understand your point. I don't know if it's pointless. I think your point is it doesn't matter, which is the same thing, but fans are going to do what they want. And I understand exactly what you said there. It doesn't matter. It's not going to make a difference. And I would agree with that. So I don't see things getting better. I really don't next year. I really appreciate all these super chat donations. Thank you very much. Mugen says, thank you, Grant. My dad wants to know who is a good point guard to get. That's a great question. And thank you again very much for your super chat donation. I don't know what the pool is going to look like of candidates right now. So that's kind of difficult to answer until I know who's staying with their teams and who might be available. But they definitely need to solidify that position. That's for sure. They have to. Grant, do you think you will be doing a show next Thursday during the NFL draft? No, I don't. And the reason is, I got to be honest with you. I wouldn't watch my show if I was you during the NFL draft. I can't provide anywhere near the information and expertise as your networks covering the draft. So I'm being very honest here. I can't, it doesn't make sense for me to go on during the NFL draft because I can't do nearly the job. I just can't. Who should Perry hire as head coach? Great question. But the bigger question is, he should have the opportunity to hire who he wants as head coach. Doug is the ultimate rah-rah motivator guy. He just is not ready on the floor. And I would agree with that. And even with that said, there were many times the Kings over the last month came out very flat. So what's the point of watching the Kings if Vivek is the problem? I can't make that decision for you. That's up to you. It was fun hearing you live in the air reacting to the Daniel Jones pick. Yeah, I know, but I can't. You're right, but that was different. I was on a 50,000 watt radio station, and I didn't have a choice. I was doing my job, whereas here I have the flexibility to work when I want. Gonzo, thank you. Kings will probably trade 15 first-round picks for Trae Young. Oh my gosh. Russell Westbrook is the best point guard in free agency. And I don't know why Russell Westbrook at this point in his career would come to Sacramento. That makes no sense to me. Thank you very much for the super chat. Hey, Grant, do you keep in touch with Carmichael Dave and Jason Ross? I do keep in touch with Carmichael Dave. Not recently with Jason, but I do on a regular basis keep in touch with Carmichael Dave. So thank you very much for the super chat. Was running it back with Barnes and not going all in after the 2023 Beam Team run the beginning of the end? It's a very good question. Very good question. Thank you very much again for the super chat. Grant, you're the reason I'm a Kings fan for 15 years. That means a lot to me. Thank you very much. Thank you. But back to, was it running back with Barnes and not going all in? That's a great question. I'm trying to think where it started to unravel after 48 wins. You got to remember, last year they won 46, which is not bad, but the West was really tough and they didn't get into the playoffs. They had a couple of injuries down the stretch that hurt them. But that's a really good question where it started to unravel. I personally think it started to unravel when you traded Harrison Barnes, to be honest with you. A lot of people give him, I think he's very underappreciated for what he did on the floor for the Kings. The Kings missed Harrison Barnes. I'm sorry, they missed him. It's just whether you want to agree to that or not, The Kings with Harrison Barnes the last 2 years won 48 and 46 games. This year they won 40 games. If the DeRozan and Levine duo didn't work in Chicago, what made things think it would work in Sacramento? Good question. My feelings when we drafted Bagley over Luka, I thought Marvin Bagley was going to be a very, very good player. Obviously, I was wrong. Giving Sabonis $217 million and sticking with Herter at shooting guard was the end. I think Sabonis is the main reason why the Kings won 48 and 46 games. So I disagree with you there. I really do. You know, I don't agree with you here. What happened after the Beam team won was Vivek didn't want to go into the luxury tax, and the West got better. Most owners don't want to go into the luxury tax and don't. As far as, well, I don't know if sticking with Kevin Herter at shooting guard was the end. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. What I do know is this team's got a lot of areas to work on. And, you know, again, we're going to wait and see when Scott Perry is officially introduced what he does with the coach. I think it's already been determined. That's my opinion. Hey, Sunrise Landing in Calusa, beautiful residential community. You go to calusasunrise.com. Get all the information on this Blazona development project in Calusa. Remember, no Maloofs, no homeowners, good access to the major roads like I-5, adjacent to the Calusa Golf and Country Club. That's where you'll find Sunrise Landing. Go to calusasunrise.com and get all the information on Sunrise Landing. Happy to have you here. If you want to get on, give me a shout. If not, we'll just keep going here with the chat messages. Appreciate all of the super chat donations. It really means a lot. Barnes wasn't the problem. They needed to add another big with that lineup. Agreed. Grant, miss you calling games. I watch Kings games on the other team's broadcast or on mute. Thank you, Gonzo. Appreciate that. I keep getting asked over and over again, like, is Scott Perry the right choice? Is he? Again, it really doesn't matter if the general manager doesn't have the authority, doesn't have the ability to do what he thinks in the best interest of the team because of the meddling of an owner. So, you know, you have to factor all of that in. I mean, all of that makes a difference. It just does. Sabonis was robbed of at least one All-Star game. Very true, and I actually think he was robbed of 2 All-Star games, but you're exactly right. You said at least one, and I would agree with you. I mean, it's ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous how he didn't make the All-Star team this year. It looks like Memphis is going to end up going in there up 96-78 at the end of the third quarter. If Sabonis is traded this offseason, I think it will tell you that Perry will try to do better things without Vivek meddling. I don't know if that would tell me that. I'm so surprised how ineffective Zach LaVine is, given that he is so talented and athletic. He was very disappointing as a whole. There's no doubt about that. Cody says, I think this will be a complete wasted season if Doug is retained as head coach. I agree with you. Is my opinion that Vivek is the worst NBA owner? I don't know all the owners and all of the situations. If he's not, he's very much in the conversation. That I feel very comfortable in saying. Very, very much in the conversation. I don't think anybody could really dispute that. Hey, if you're buying a home, selling a home, looking for a real estate agent, get in touch with Connor at Element Mortgage. You can trust him. He has tons of experience, and he has a team behind him with over 100 years experience. That's Connor with Element Mortgage. You got the QR code right there. Get in touch with him. You can pick his brain on what he wants the Kings to do as well. He's a lifelong Sacramento resident from Folsom. Give him a call at 916 505 1006. A guy you can trust with a load of experience. That's Connor with Element Mortgage, 916 505 1006. Let's take some break from the basketball, Baki says. Come to Serbia. We're going to have fun. Then we fly to London and Wimbledon. Oh, my God. What a dream trip that would be. Who's paying for it, Baki? Appreciate it. DeRozan is a baller. Respect to him. Thank you for the super chat. He is a baller. You're exactly right. Whether you like DeMar DeRozan or not, that's exactly what he is. He is a baller. Absolutely. Man, that is true. Money probably needs Element Mortgage. Yeah, he should give Connor a call. That's very true. Yep. Very true. Oh, Baki says it's on him. I'm on my way, buddy. Oh, gosh. Says you can't do anything with the roster when you have Sabonis, Levine, DeRozan, and Monk's contracts. Well, first of all, those are all very good players. So you need to figure out how to make it work, or you can move one of them. I don't know if I would say you can't do anything with the roster. I don't know if that's true. Think Monk regrets signing last offseason? No. I talked about Davion Mitchell at the beginning of the show. He did look good. He's played very well for Miami. He's played very well. Bennett's. You want to go to Bennett's? How about that? Prime seafood and steak. Bennett's, yeah. Sacramento, Roseville, or the West Side Grill in Rockland. Just go to Bennett'sRestaurants.com to make a reservation. And don't forget about their weekend brunch coming up tomorrow and Sunday. Make your reservation at Bennett's. Bennett'sRestaurants.com. Sabonis is a great player, but terrible under the basket on defense. Also, he has the worst hands I've ever seen. Passes slip through them, and he mishandles like crazy. Does have too many turnovers. I would agree with you there. No doubt. You can't afford anybody good to add to them. We'll see. We'll see. We'll see. Miami always gets the best out of their players. They do because they have a tremendous coach and Eric Spoelstra. That's what coaching is. That's coaching. All right? That's coaching. Oh, very nice. I just cleared debt, so I'm going to celebrate by going to Bennett's. Good job there, CD Render. Enjoy. Enjoy. Westbrook, Trae Young, CP3, would you go after either or just go with a different type of a point guard? I'm not, at this point, Westbrook not coming to Sacramento. I wouldn't mind having him for a year. Trae Young, no. Chris Paul, I mean, come on. If Perry was actually allowed to do this job, I wouldn't dislike the hire so much. He cleaned up the Knicks cap mess. I don't know who did what in New York. They had so many guys in the front office. But fair enough. Fair enough. Can you give me your thoughts on Matina? Feels like she has too much input. Cancerous? I'll answer the question this way. Successful businesses have people in different roles, and they do their roles. In professional sports, and in this case, basketball, there's a business side of the franchise and the basketball side. And in my opinion, just my opinion, one of the biggest problems with the Kings is there's too much intermingling between the two. Successful basketball operations, the basketball people are almost in a bubble. The business side is the business side, which is an integral part of any franchise. I mean, that goes without saying. They have an extremely important role, but they should not be in the bubble of the basketball people. And in my opinion, that's the biggest issue that I see with the Kings, including the owner, which obviously encompasses everything. It needs to be separated. And it's just the way it is. Thank you for the super chat donation again. Grant, what do you think about Jerome from the Cavs if he's a free agent for our point guard? You know, I'd have to look into that more and see what a contract and free. I'd have to look into that more. But thank you very much for the super chat. But so cancerous? No. I mean, that's not fair. Going back to Matina. It's just not fair. I just think that the Kings need to button up their basketball operations. And I don't know if Scott Perry can do that or not. But basketball operations is basketball operations. And it needs to remain in the bubble. Love it, Grant. Thanks for addressing. You're very welcome. Before their financial issues and the subsequent attempt to move, the Maloofs were good owners. As someone that was with the organization under both, what did you feel was the biggest difference with Vivek? Before the Maloofs had their money issues, they were great owners. You had players around the league telling their agents, get me to Sacramento. The Maloofs treated their players and employees like gold. They were extremely charitable with their players and their staff. I remember when the Maloofs bought the team, for Christmas, they had all of the people fitted for custom suits. They were always doing nice things. They were always showing their appreciation for their players, their staff, and their employees. That goes a long way in building a successful franchise. Whereas I don't even think Vivek knows the name of half the people that work in the Kings organization. So there was a huge difference. The Maloofs, before the economy collapsed in 2006 and 2007, were great owners for the Kings. They were great. I know that they get a lot of venom from fans, and I get it because of the attempts to move the team. But as far as owners of the team, when they had money, they were great. Grant, you should do play-by-play live on here during the game next year, like Joe Rogan does Fight Companion during the UFC fights. Be too hard. I don't think you understand how difficult that would be. I knew an usher who worked under the Maloofs. They loved those guys. Yeah. The Maloofs treated everyone the same. They treated ushers like, a front-level executive. That's how they were. That's how they were. I mean, I have a lot of respect for the way they ran the team when they were here. Maloofs would also walk around before games and talk to the fans. Always. They were very approachable. Very approachable. Wow. So we're here at the end of the week, and the basketball season's over for Sacramento. What a disappointing season. And I wonder where you go from here. And I wonder if it's going to get any better, or are we going to be having the same conversation 12 months from now? 8 minutes left. It's 103-88. Memphis over Dallas. All right, I'm going to wrap up the week. We will start talking NFL draft next week. We'll obviously focus in on still on the Kings, the NHL, and the NBA playoffs. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for all the super chat donations on this show. It is greatly appreciated. Let's reboot this weekend, right? Get a day or two off and get away from the Kings for a moment or two. If some breaking news happens, we'll come on and do shows, either Ryan or myself. So understand that. So thank you. Appreciate you. Thank you very much. And you have a great weekend. All right. Bye-bye now.